Sunday, it's 10 degrees out, and I'm gonna go to the junkyard and try to pull a motor out of a 2018 Chevy Cruze. It's a 1.4 liter turbo. It's aluminum block, direct injected, variable valve timing on the intake and the exhaust, turbocharged, intercooled. I think I'm gonna try to put it on the buggy, but I have a lot of questions about this engine, making it run standalone without the rest of the car attached to it and all that kind of stuff. I think it's a little overcomplicated for the buggy. I don't even have a direct injected turbo car, but let's put one on a 30-year-old rail buggy, why not? But basically, I'm not finding information. I'm not finding information that I need online, so I just have to go buy this thing and play with it and see what I can do. So it's gonna be a miserable day, but let me get this thing home. All right, so here's the donor car. It's 2018 Chevy Cruze, 1.4 turbo. This is the second gen Cruze, so it's got the aluminum block, 1.4 direct injected turbo. It's the LE2. It's the model code. There's nothing about these motors online, so I just have to take one and play with it, essentially. So I got the computer here, entire engine harness, all this could be coming with it to try to get this thing to run on the stand. But it's gonna be a little bit of a doozy to get this thing out of here. Been working for too long. Trying to retain all the nice factory wires. Like this will be my starter cable. These are factory wideband cars, so I will be keeping this O2 sensor. This thing's got the cat built into the downpipe, so all that's going to be trash. They don't allow sawzalls anymore, so that's really cramping my style as well. I don't even know what bolt pattern this engine is. Like, that's how little information there is on the internet. Looks like this is the same family of engine that they made the 1.5 liter turbo as well, but it runs on the same ECU that like a turbo 4-cylinder Camaro does. Or maybe it's a 6, I don't know, whatever the new turbo Camaro is. So it's gonna be quite a learning experience here. Come on, you little turd. Oh, I can't believe how stiff that is. It's tough.
GM. It's
12-point quarter-inch.
Oh yeah? Okay.
Let me see if I got one. I got. They make these bell housing bolts fairly difficult to get to, honestly. We've got some gappage. Rip this thing out somehow, but I can tell that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. I don't know how deep torque converters are on these because I don't have a lot of room here, but we'll see. Okay. Of course, my GoPro battery died because it's freezing out here. But anyway, put the motor here, 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 and we're rolling out of here. All right, guys, we're back. I apologize. My camera died because it was like 15 degrees out and I didn't bring a spare, so these GoPros weren't having that. But anyway, I'm home with the motor now. Just been studying pages and pages and pages of wiring diagrams, trying to wrap my head around what I need to do to have this thing run to full potential. So we'll see. I learned there's a couple things I'm missing, one of them being there's a boost pressure sensor that goes on the intercooler that is critical to the way this thing runs. There's also a fuel pump control module that it talks to set the low pressure fuel pump for the high pressure fuel pump. I'm not sure if I can tune that out, or do I need to get that, or do I need to fake that? And then I think finally, well, outside of all the emissions and crap, vehicle speed sensor will be interesting. So this ECU is going to have an automatic tune on it. It's going to be looking for a couple different things. I'm looking to find a manual file for this or build my own. Hopefully ignore all the transmission stuff, but it may still want vehicle speed because a lot of these newer ECUs, driver's wish torque base, are actually mile per hour based, some of them. So we'll see what we get into. Grabbed a couple of other things while I was there. I got the OEM gas pedal. This will be essential driving the drive-by-wire. I also grabbed this intake coupler because it's got some proprietary flange on the throttle body with like a snap ring. So I can cut off this plastic hose, clamp onto that, get to a normal intercooler. So right now I'm going to start picking through the wiring and understanding exactly what I need here. Violet gray. It's right in there. So right now I got a couple wires that are the same color. Need to do some back probing to determine which ones are actually my GM network wires, or whatever you want to call them today. Because I need to be able to talk to this ECU to pull the tune off of it. Pin 9 should be a blue wire, GM LAN serial data positive. And then confirm on the other side of the harness here on 190, blue wire. It's going to be the second pin, blue. It really pays to get good wiring diagrams because I am looking for this blue and white wire here coming out of the ECU. And it brings you down to 3 different options here. For a stick shift, it comes right through to plug 190, which is this plug over here. That's where I was just tracing. The wire does not have continuous path there. So we look at options 1 and 3, which is a 6-speed automatic trans or 9-speed automatic trans. I don't know what was in this car, but either way, we must have wires running to some type of transmission communication here that need to be jumpered together to pass the signal back through to 190. So let me find that plug. All right, so I found the trans plug, jump the 2 CAN wires through, pass the signal through, and then you'll see that we now have continuity. So I can run the OBD2 port right to this and hopefully communicate directly with the ECM, bypassing the transmission control. It's all temporary. I just want to get this thing, I want to see if it's even tunable and if I can even use this engine. That's where we're at right now. There's no guarantees that I'll be able to make this run in a standalone configuration, and the engine's far too complicated to run with a Mega Squirt. So, all right, now's the moment of truth. I got what I think is wired up enough to communicate. Got a car battery there. Got HP tuners here. Let's see what happens. Let's let the smoke out. All right. Power to everything now. don't see any smoke. Let's see if this will even recognize it as a vehicle. It's not a good sign. Unable to detect a diagnostic protocol. Okay, it's the next morning. Had some time to sleep on this, think about what I'm doing wrong here, why I'm not getting any comms. Ended up rewiring a lot of this after further studying the wiring diagrams, so I'm waiting on the laptop to boot up and we'll give her another try. Okay, good news. Think we got it working here. So watch that throttle body when I power cycle this. You'll see it does a learn cycle. Okay, so the ECU is booting up. It looks like it's gonna be a almost a 5-minute read, so we'll let this thing go and see what we come up with. Loaded up in HP tuners. Most important thing right here is that they do have a VATS patch for this. So that is the security system disable. Hopefully this is enough. I know on some of the earlier Cruzes there was 2 patches that had to be made. We'll see if this works. So anyway, I'm just looking through the tune here. There is quite a bit going on. It is a fairly modern ECU. Drive-by-wire, variable valve timing, turbo, and direct injected. So there's a lot going on here. For engine diagnostics, I turned off tons of codes all relating to emission stuff and other codes that, all these red ones here are ones that I've changed. Relating to, you know, brake pedal switch, brake vacuum, monitoring, evap, headlight module, just all this crap that we don't want to worry about anymore. The one thing that I'm a little worried about here is that I don't see anywhere to determine what type of fuel pump this uses. So all of the fuel settings in this are for the direct injection high pressure pump, the mechanically driven one, and that's fine. Unfortunately, this car also had a fuel pump control module in the trunk that drives a low pressure fuel pump to provide fuel to the high pressure pump. There's a bunch of diagnostics on that, and there's a sensor, there's CAN communication, there's a couple things that I'm not going to have anymore. So we'll see how it does with that. It may be pissed off, it may not run, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Also changed it over to a manual transmission, and I also see here that you can actually turn off the vehicle speed sensor, no sensor. I'm going to leave it as is for now, but maybe that is something we want to do in the future. Engine diagnostics, you know, there's tons of crap in here to get into, but we really don't need any of this right now. I did turn the catalyst off because it's not going to have a cat, things like that. As for tuning this is the whole torque model thing is huge. There's a lot going on here. We don't need to get into this on this video, but as of now, I believe I put together a tune that will hopefully get this thing started and running without the rest of the car attached, but there's only one way to find out. So let's flash it and let's figure out a couple other things, see if we can get this engine to start. Alright, let's give it a go. I expect this to be a fairly long write. I'm not going to touch anything in the process. 14 minutes for this entire calibration. Alright, we'll check back when that's done. I'll be puckering the whole time. Flash was successful. That was a tough 15 minutes. Because if you brick this thing, 1, you got to find another one. 2, you got to pay again to get credits to work with it. So let's connect to this car here. Another thing I did, I wired up the throttle pedal temporarily. And you can see up top, if you watch the throttle blade, see it moving with the pedal? That's working, that's great news. So maybe like I'm jumping the gun, but let's try to start this damn thing. I got wires out the butt. And I got a trigger set up to jump the starter. That works. Oh! And we're squirting oil everywhere. Because there's no turbo on it, and the oil lines are not capped. Alright, bolt 2 cross washers. Hopefully that seals up that port. Let's give this thing another wham. Well, hot damn, she's a runner. I cannot believe that that just started. I'm actually gonna have to grab a cold one here and just celebrate a little bit. All right, before I take this setup apart, I do wanna see if it'll run on its own fuel. So without setting up a pump and everything, I got a piece of pipe with 2 caps welded on it and a line running down to the feed on the high pressure pump. And I got a Schrader valve up top here. I filled this with fuel. So I'm gonna pump this up to, I don't know, 60 pounds to simulate the other pump giving it fuel pressure. All right, and my Schrader valve is leaking a little, so we don't have unlimited time here. But let's just see what happens. There it is, folks. Running 100% on our own fuel, our own ignition. So that proves my theory. So I just started filming this video really with no intention or end goal in mind. Basically, I had interest in these Chevy Cruze 1.4 motors, but there's like no information about them online. There's literally nothing. Nobody uses them in a standalone application. Nobody uses them in anything but a Chevy Cruze. This particular one came out in 2016. It's a clean slate motor for GM. It's aluminum block, fully girdled, forged crank, direct injection, variable valve timing, yada yada yada, all the more modern stuff. This motor is not to be confused with the 1.4 liter previous, like 2015 and down, that came in the Chevy Cruze and Sonic and all those other cars. This is an entirely new engine. Pretty much nothing, even the oil filter is not the same. So this was cool. Basically, I just decided, because I can't find any information online, I literally have to go buy one and learn it all on my own. One of the main things that attracted me to this engine is compact design. So it's like 22 inches long by, I don't know, with the turbo hanging off the side, like 20 inches wide. So it's a very small footprint to make 150 horse and 170 foot-pounds. It's also very lightweight, being 100% aluminum. GM says this thing weighs like 200 and something pounds, like low 200s, ready to run. We'll see what it's going to look like in a standalone, application with no AC compressor, none of the emissions crap on it. I will get this thing ready and I'll drop it on the scale. We'll see what it weighs, but I'm hoping it weighs, 240 pounds wet. That's a great power to weight ratio for a factory engine with factory reliability. I think this would be cool in like a 2-wheel drive S10 pickup or, anything. So post down in the comments, what do you think this motor would be good in? What is a lightweight, tiny little power pack like this good for? I actually had so much fun doing this. I mean, this is only, I just bought the motor yesterday and I got it running tonight. But this was like very exciting. So I hope to do some more cool things with this in the future. I'd like to put it in my rail buggy if I can find a decent trans to put in front of it. I think this would be a really nice motor for that. Ironically, it's a 1.4 liter, so I'm actually going to a smaller engine, but it makes 4 times the power that the Volkswagen motor makes. So anyway, stay tuned. If you like this kind of stuff, you'll definitely be seeing more about this motor. Thanks for watching Spank Ranch Garage. See you next time.